Hello everybody, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our guest speaker today, Fahim Hashimy. Fahim is the founder and director of the Ghan International Film Festival, Australia, a remarkable cultural initiative now entering its 11th year. Fahim established GIFFA, the Ghan International Film Festival, in 2016. I'm sure many of you have heard of it and probably been to some of the films. And he established it here in Adelaide, beginning as a small community gathering that has since grown into a vibrant multi-city festival spanning Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney. Over the past decade, GIFFA has become a powerful platform for Afghan filmmakers whose voices have been silenced, whose theatres have been closed and whose National Film Institute has been dismantled. Through Fahim's leadership, the festival stands as a beacon of creativity, resistance and cultural preservation, keeping Afghan cinema alive. GIFFA showcases feature films, documentaries and shorts that challenge stereotypes and offer a deeper, more human understanding of Afghan people. Stories of resilience, love and survival, created under extraordinary circumstances. Beyond the screen, the festival also delivers real impact, with all proceeds supporting women and children in war-torn regions, providing education, food and shelter where it's needed the most. As GIFFA prepares for its 11th edition, opening in Adelaide on the 25th of September, so after the Royal Show and around the Woodsales time, it will be opening at the Mercury Cinema. It will then be followed by Sydney on the 3rd of October and Melbourne date soon to be announced, I believe. So Fahim joins us today to share the journey of the festival, its beginnings, achievements, challenges and the vision ahead. Please join me in welcoming Fahim Hashimy.
It's already queued,
Pardon?
It's already queued, give me the hand.
Okay.
Change it.
And I think you may need to manually click it. Yep.
All right, thank you so much, Heidi, and thank you everyone being here today. Such a great pleasure to standing here in front of you and talking about the Ghan International Film Festival. I know we are in the 11th years of the festival, but I'm not sure how many people are aware of it, and I think this was a great opportunity to say, hey, let's come here and talk about the festival, because as you know, Afghanistan these days obviously is not Afghanistan of 5 years ago. 5 years ago we had Afghanistan, we had cinema, we had the film industry in Afghanistan, we had films coming every year in numbers to Ghan International Film Festival. But since 5 years ago, when obviously I'm sure you know, the Taliban took over, the first thing they did, they closed the cinema. And they closed the only Afghan film, which was the only institution that producing film in Afghanistan. They closed that down as well. So then the film industry from Afghanistan was completely shut. When this happened, we feel that more responsible to say, okay, now Afghanistan doesn't have a cinema. What we can do at the diaspora, what we can do around the world. So that's why I think it's very, very important to come and talk with the Club like Rotary and all other clubs. We had a very excellent gathering with the Andy Rotary Club. I'm sure you're aware of it, just a few months ago. And we had a screening of films there, and I think it's very, very valuable for us as Afghan diaspora And I hope I can present something that is actually, you guys also liking it today. So, as was presented, Ghan International Film Festival, I'm working in it for last 11 years, created or founded this festival. But obviously I want to also acknowledge the Ghana people, and also GIFFA acknowledges the traditional honor of the country throughout Australia, and their continued connection to the land, water, and community. We pay our respect to them and their culture, and to the elders, both past, present, and emerging. When I was preparing this presentation, I thought to summarize it in 3-4 points. Why was festival established at the beginning? And what challenges has it faced over the past decades or 11 years? And what was GIFFA's impact, and where is actually we are going? Is the sound okay? Can you hear the sound? Yeah? Yes. Good. So aims. When we was creating Ghan International Film Festival, it was obviously the middle of, as I said, the middle of the democracy in Afghanistan, cinema, films, everything was very good there. And we thought to, what is the aim of the festival? So we come up with the 3 points. At its heart, and what we wanted to do with the Ghan Festival, we wanted to connect the core background, culturally, linguistic, diverse community background with the mainstream Australian, which these days normally they call it community cohesion or social cohesion. That was at the heart of our festival. We wanted to connect people, networking, and to bring people to see behind the news or behind the headline. Because Afghanistan as a country, they have a lot other, apart from the just seeing in the news or headlines. There are people who love each other, there are people who get in love, the people who have children, families. And what is more powerful than cinema to bring people to watch and look and to find out about the other culture and other traditions. So that's why the community gathering and community being together was the core of aim of the Ghan International Film Festival. And obviously I put a picture of my documentary. So I made a documentary film in 2013 called Afghan Cameleons in Australia, 1860 to 1920. That was the title of it. This film obviously was on SBS. So this film also gave me an idea of why we're not connecting the Ghan International Film Festival to this story. So at the beginning we wanted to name it Afghan Film Festival, or I don't know, Kabul Film Festival. And then we come up with the idea of Ghan International Film Festival. So as you know, the Ghan is part of the Afghan story in Australia. We have the Ghan railway, we have the Ghan towns in the middle, in the outback of Australia. So that's why, to honor the history of the Afghans in Australia, we named the Ghan International Film Festival as a Ghan. And every year, at least we have something to present about the Afghan Cavaliers story in the cinema, or like we did with Rotary Amli. We actually show my film there, so just to promote to the history of the Cavaliers as well. And something that is really close to me and my heart is obviously this one, to give back. We are organizing this festival not just for that two things, but obviously one of the very important aspect of the Ghan Festival is for us and my team to donate back to the Afghanistan street children. This picture you're seeing is a group of children that myself, 2019, we went in Kabul and collecting them from the street of Kabul. Imagine 9 years old boy or girls selling cans or pencils in the street in, I don't know, 3-degree cold or whatever, in middle of Kabul, and hoping someone actually come and buy that pen or pencils from them. And when you see the timing of it, it's about 1 a.m. or 12 midnight, and they're selling. So these kids was exactly the kids we went ourselves and collected them by, obviously with the authority of the time, from the roads, and the next day we went to their parents and to their father and mother and asked for what we are going to do. And exactly what we told them that, okay, we are from Australia, we want to have you guys somewhere in the school instead of going to the street and working. So how much are you going to earn per month, we asked them. And they said, we earn $25 a month. So I said, okay, well, that $25 is 5 coffee for us per person. Why not? We can do that for you. But the only promise we want from you is to not go back to the street to work, because we pay you $25. So instead go to school or some education institution. And that was exactly what we did. And the next day, as I said, obviously their parents, everyone was so happy what we was offering. And we did speak with the organization called ASEAN in Afghanistan. So then they got the responsibility to supervise the children, because we were coming back to Australia, obviously. And we, as a non-for-profit association, sending money to ASEAN, which also are non-for-profit in Afghanistan, and one of the main organizations looking after the children in Kabul. So we send the money to them, and then they were distributing to the children. And obviously we was, every month, as much as money was distributed to the children, and they would send us the signatures, and in Afghanistan it's very common to do the fingerprints, in the paper, so they're doing it, and they were sending to us as evidence, which we was super happy with it. And as I said, this is very close to my heart as well. Since then, we doing it every year and sending to the kids. Obviously, some of the kids has been over 18, so over 18 was the limit for us. After that, they should go and find themselves work or study. But a lot of them still are under 18, and we are looking after them. So all proceeds, every single dollar from the ticket money, we are not keeping it. So that will go to this cause, to Afghanistan, for the women and children of Kabul. I have a little video here for you. I'll play it and to see what does this look like when we're talking about the Afghan street children. We call them Farda Hero Kids. Farda is our organization, so this is our heroes in Afghanistan. And this was after the Taliban took over. Can you hear it? Yeah, it was so difficult to edit this video, to be honest, because to make it 1.5 minutes, it was amazing. They send us up to, I don't know, 1 hour of videos, so for such events we need to edit it, to sit down and edit all these messages, all they saying, especially one of these girls saying that I was out of the school, so it's not easy to see, to watch. So. Okay. What challenges, obviously, this is my second topic, what challenges has it faced over the past decades? With the festival, obviously, as you know, it's the funding and the finance comes first to organize it and to make sure that everything goes smoothly. That's why for us also the funding and the grant and where to get money from, that was coming really tough at the beginning. But probably now all of you has a flyer in front of you in the table. We are so glad that we have received a very good partners or collaboration with the organizations, especially for the non-for-profit organizations. Because remember, we are not getting any money from the tickets for the festival. The ticket proceeding all goes to Afghanistan. So we need some money to organize the festival. We are volunteers, like me, Munir, all of our friends in the team, which are there, they're all volunteers. So we want some money to get the festival running. So that's why this organization comes in, which is very crucial. And I think, as I said, for the first year first 2-3 years probably was very difficult, and then slowly we build up reputation, and now we are getting better. However, as years gone by, you see that some of this organization they drop down and say we can't do anymore, and you have to go for another organization. Sometimes, to be honest, when we go to Melbourne and Sydney, we have to pay from our pocket to organize this film, and we have talked this a lot with my colleague, for example, Munir. That it is what it is. So sponsorship and going forward was the big challenge, and still is challenging. The other two challenges, which is not here, I think it's in my mind obviously. One was the COVID-19. We had obviously COVID in between, and we didn't stop, obviously, listening to Professor Nicholas, her name was, and what she was telling what to do about the, what do you call, lockdown and stuff. So we was according to that. Luckily, we never stopped Ghan Festival for the last 11 years. Even with the COVID time, we obviously following all the procedure. PPP or whatever it was, and all of those masks and things, and 50% of the cinema went well. But when 2021 Afghanistan collapsed, that was the biggest challenge. It was not easy for anyone. You know, there was nothing to be easy. Well, it is still hurting, but that was another challenge, which goes past. However, after the Afghanistan collapse, as I mentioned at the beginning, the challenge comes on because we don't have Afghan cinema anymore, no filmmaker in Afghanistan, and the films, for the first time in 2016, when we organized the Ghan Festival, we received 120 submissions for the festival. And then we had to go through the submission and select six or seven films out of it. So we have a group of jury that they do that. But this year, we are only receiving 20 or 18. So you can imagine, from 120, it just dropped to 20. And the films we receive now are mainly from diaspora, from people who are living in America, Germany, and Australia. So Afghanistan collapse was the biggest challenge for us after the COVID. Impact, I just put some numbers there. Over 3,000 people have attended cinemas, a screening of Afghan films presented by GIFFA. Obviously more than 300,000 people. This is just estimation. I'm sure there are more. If we go through our figures in social media, GIFFA has received over 700 film submissions. And remember, this is the Afghan films only. 700 film submissions, including short film documentaries in the last 10 years, animation and feature films. 2016 alone, 126 films submitted. More than 72 films have been screened and showcased through the festival. Over the past 10 years, GIFFA has supported 15 street children, and this is the children we collected ourselves, from the street. Helping providing opportunities for a better future. GIFFA promotes social cohesion, cultural understanding, inclusion, and dialogues between Afghans and Australian communities. So this was, I think, the biggest impact that GIFFA had. So where are we going? This is our team as well. This is during the COVID, so the indoor cinema was not allowed, so we have to go to outdoor cinemas.
And a long way apart.
Yeah, Jim's Cross Cinema, which is not anymore. Yeah, it is not anymore cinema. So this is, I don't know, car park or something. But this was the Jim's Cross Cinema outdoor one. As mentioned a couple of times, we started from Adelaide. We never thought we were going to go out of Adelaide, but now we are in Melbourne and Sydney. Very strong community behind us, and believe it or not, in Sydney, a mosque is actually one of our sponsors. You know, normally mosques are not sponsoring festival, but it's so amazing to see even the religious institution sometimes comes to support a cultural organization, and that was super amazing for us, and it's a story itself, because sometimes they are coming to the cinema to watch film. When this is prayer time, they go and pray, and then they come back, and then which is okay, you know. And also in Melbourne, we have a very good network there. So it's going, and obviously, and more. We are still trying to take it to Brisbane and Perth. I haven't happened yet, but this is one of our next probably plan. Thank you, and please join us for the GIFFA 2026, Friday 25th of September at 6:30 p.m. Mercury Cinema, Adelaide, if you can. That would be so amazing to see you guys coming. We have a film from a woman Afghan director, Roya Sadat. I'm not sure if you know her or not. She's very, very popular. And I think she's the only Afghan director who is making feature films. Is award-winning films that we have this year for the 25th of September. Is a feature film actually. I would be amazing to see you guys coming there, obviously. So I'll obviously send the links and stuff, and also you can scan the code on the flyer if you like. Thank you so much, and this is our website. If any question, happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fahim. Have you got any questions? Jill.
Thank you, Fahim. That was wonderful and fantastic to see. I don't think I need the microphone. Fantastic to see the children speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us a little snapshot of the subject areas that some of the films might be covering that we could come and see?
Okay. One of the main subject that we wanted to cover in the festival, obviously we had a lot of films coming, from Afghanistan. Not now, obviously we have limited films, so then we have to deal with it. Was to be on the topic of Afghan women and children. This too was our main subjects to have the films. I mean, any film was coming. If it was not about the Afghan women and children, we would not shortlist it. So, and we was getting a lot of films. And history, the story of it was about this, either women or either children. But this year, because we are limited to the films, we just go for anything, so we just try to make the films, I mean, not like unquality films, quality films. I mean, our jury panel are really good on that, so they just, you can see in our website who is our jury panel. We are very much curious about the film quality and how that could be thought-provoking, not just to any story. So.
Education and women's development is particularly challenging in Afghanistan in the current circumstances. How is the organisation that you're working with looking at overcoming this and keeping that development going throughout the child or the children's development?
Well, I mean, this is a very good question. To overcome, obviously, we have a big network in Afghanistan. You know, it starts from our family members and then goes to the people we already at the network. As you know, anything is going from overseas in Afghanistan right now, it could have challenges itself, including money, including charity organizations. If the government, they're not government, obviously we don't recognize them as a government, the people who are controlling Afghanistan, if they know that this is coming from Australia, it will be a big deal. So that's why we have to use our own channels, our own networks, and as I said, we have the organization that we already built with, you know, the network. So we send it to them, and then distribute it to the children. Is that answering your question?
Yes.
Are the films that we're going to see, have they been made inside Afghanistan or have they been made in external countries?
Some films inside Afghanistan, especially short films inside Afghanistan, but the feature films you're going to watch on 25th is a film which made in outside of Afghanistan, but they're actually acting to be in Afghanistan. You know, so this is a feature film. They are telling the story of Afghanistan from 1970s onward, and this is when the communist was there in Afghanistan, or you know, the politics was changed after that, obviously. So some films, especially short films, are made in Afghanistan, and documentaries. Because we normally show 2-3 short films before the feature film, so then you watch feature film. So a lot of people coming to the cinema and they feedback into us. They love the short films, and they're coming to watch few stories instead of just one big feature film.
Just wondering, with the Adelaide Film Festival, have you received any support from them?
Adelaide Film Festival, wow, yeah. Adelaide Film Festival at the beginning, obviously, for the first 7 years, I think, they were the biggest supporter for us. When we're talking about the support, not just finance support, but you know, just networking, collaboration, to go and talk in their events, that was a lot. I mean, I went, Matt Casting, which is the CEO of the Adelaide Film Festival, he's a very good friend of GIFFA or Ghan Festival, and he was very good supporter of us as well. Last 2-3 years is a little bit limited, so I'm not sure why, but we are trying to connect with them to see what we can do.
Got a question?
Yeah.
I'd like to know a little bit more about you personally and what your career has been and what led you to starting this film festival.
Okay. Thank you so much. I thought it's coming. So I was a Reuters news journalist in Afghanistan, working from 2003 until 2008 for the Reuters in Kabul and in Herat. So my job was to collect news from Afghanistan and send back to England and Reuters. And that was my job. And then before that, I was a nurse. It's interesting. Before when I finished school, I went nursing and did a nurse, become a nurse, mental health nurse especially. So I was dealing with a lot of mental health, and I think all of these things was connected to each other. You know, so when you are a mental health nurse and then becoming a journalist in Afghanistan itself is really tough. You have to deal with a lot of situations, and if you don't have that background, it could, you know, just lead you to some really troubled places. Especially in terms of trauma and, you know, seeing all those things. And then I came to Australia, obviously, around 2008, end of it. And as soon as I came to Australia, because I had that background, the government of time, they did not recognize my qualification, neither journalism or nursing. So I said, okay, what can I do now apart from doing taxi driving and stuff? I said, well, I can make documentary. I'm a journalist. I have skill. Why not? I start working on the Afghan Cameliers documentary. I must acknowledge the contribution of Pamela Rajkowski, if anyone of you know her. She's the author of the book. She actually helped me a lot to find out about the subjects and where to go and how to do stuff with the connecting. After 20 days of my arrival was my first travel to outback Australia. You know how difficult it could be. It was so difficult to get my head around Australian accent, English accent, you know, and then suddenly I went to the outback of Australia. And the people talking with me, it was absolutely different level. So that was my experience from then, and obviously it started with the film making documentary. The documentary finished. 2013 went to the SBS, which was a big achievement for me because going to SBS was not easy, obviously. And then BBC got it from us, BBC Persian. And then lots of other channels, which for the filmmaker, this is a big achievement. And I remember I started doing from nothing, no funding, no grant, nothing. I was just working during the week and going on the weekend, paying my petrol and stuff. But lucky, it came up with good films. And by the way, I'm working right now on another episode of that film, which is connecting the Afghan descendants in Australia with the people who traveled back to Afghanistan. You know, the descendants of these people traveled back to Afghanistan. And believe it or not, some of the indigenous Australian family members have traveled back to Afghanistan. We actually filmed them in Kabul. And it shows that the indigenous Australian blood has traveled all the way to Afghanistan with the Afghans. And we are actually working on that documentary, hoping to finish by next year, because we're really dealing with the DNA testing and stuff, so we want to make sure everything is perfect, you know, so, yeah. That was a good experience.
Okay, Uncle Rod has a question.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the Indigenous and Afghan people being connected. Actually, recently in Adelaide, there was a play called Logan Street.
Yeah.
And my cousin actually, he wrote and organised that play. Jacob from Melbourne, he grew up in Melbourne, but his nana, who is my auntie, my mum's older sister, lived in Logan Street, and she owned a house there, and she had as a boarder an Afghan man named Gully, who actually taught that the family how to cook and use spices and all that. Yeah. And but also, you know, we got connections through Port Augusta and the outback. Through our family, my grandfather travelling and working on stations and stuff like that. But there is a close connection, a marriage between the families. And so that'd be good. What I was going to mention to you is it'd be good to have a collaboration film made about Logan Street, because Logan Street also was the first Afghan mosque in Adelaide was in Logan Street. So it would be interesting to have that history documented and on film as it was in the play Logan Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll just answer that. Thank you so much, Uncle. That is, I think it's a very good point. With the Logan Street, I actually went there 3 times to watch it, because the first time I went there, I love it. And second time, I just wanted to go to see how I can cooperate with the director, Jacob. Obviously, Jacob, I interviewed with him on Monday, I think. Yeah, it was yesterday, I don't know. So it was just, I did an interview with him and I told him that I'm making the film. And the Guli that is saying, Gul Muhammad, his name is Gul Muhammad, and the Gul Muhammad is the character of the Logan Street. Logan Street is just the other side of the mosque, which is an absolutely amazing theater. I think anyone who hasn't watched it, I asked Jacob yesterday, is this going to be played somewhere else? He said yes, but didn't know where. So it's still coming. I'm just really highly recommending if you want to watch, if you want to see something about the Afghan Cavaliers, that will be the best. Yeah. And I think the time of you.
That's right. Well, one more question.
To follow up to that, it's an excellent play. It's
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah, you watched it,
The
yeah.
house now is the car park behind the mosque.
Yeah, I know.
And there's also, WEA has tours
Yeah.
do that area, and they also have the Afghan graves down at West Terrace car park, cemetery.
Western Cemetery, yeah. And Gul Muhammad is buried there, yeah.
And Muhammad Ali was in it. He was a sort of a hero figure in South Australia when he was doing his medicines.
Yeah, I asked Jacob actually in my interview. I said, man, you did the Gul Muhammad story. You should do Muhammad Alam's story as well, because
That's much more interesting.
yeah, Muhammad Alam. You know, the people were coming from United States to see him and to be treated, to be cured because of the medicine he was providing. So people actually coming there, lots of stories about him. Sometimes there were 70 people lining up in the store to get to see him. I mean, he had a lot of issues with the medical association or whatever it was then, because they didn't like him. However, he was treating people for free. So that was another thing, and the people used to love him. But anyway, I think the time is not friend of us. Thank you so much for your time. Please, if you can, I would be love to see you guys in the cinema on 25th of September. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fahim, thank you so much.